Join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor and protect the flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas,
One state,
under God, one and indivisible.
Please join me as I pray. Again, Father, we're thankful for the blessings of this new day and the fair weather that you've given us and the privilege of living in this great country and this great state and this great community. And Father, on this side of Hurricane Hannah, I'm reminded about the storms of life and about the preacher that said one time that if we're not in a storm right now, that we just came out of one or we're headed to another one. And that's the way it is living on the coast. And those sailors that sailed the open sea didn't have the warning that we have today, and they had to deal with it as it was dealt to them. So Father, we thank you for the leadership we've had in this community and the job they've done to get us safely through Hannah. We felt your presence through the storm as it went further south and didn't do major damage to us. And we just trust you. We know that if we keep our eyes focused on you, that you'll get us through the storms of life. So we pray for these commissioners and these communities as we continue to move forward through this year, as we await for the next storm to come on us. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Morning. We do have a quorum. Any citizens sign up? Well, we do have citizens signed up, but they want to speak when the agenda items come up. So we'll allow that later on. We have a public hearing, citizens to be heard also on county clerk's records for what?
Yeah, if I'm speaking now, since we are going to go to the regular.
Come on up. I thought you didn't make it.
Yeah, we got to get to the appraisal district.
All right.
For that hearing. It's short.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Mhm.
I would like to
Your
address the
name,
new,
please.
I'm sorry?
State your name.
Oh, my name is Andrew Kane. I would like to address the new county courthouse we discussed at the last regular meeting. I believe the old building was 26,000 square feet, and the one that was presented to us was 45,000 square feet. It is a nice structure that should serve the county needs well. I liked it. I was surprised to hear most of y'all thought it was too small. We heard that this was what we could afford without raising taxes, and the citizen spend on this would be around 14 million. That's a lot of money because last fall we thought we would be under 300 square foot. Now it's at 400 square foot. When y'all started discussing adding 10,000 square foot more, the estimate was 10 million more. I was shocked that no one questioned this because that add-on would be 1,000 square foot. That is way too high. 1,000 square foot, and y'all just kept talking about how bad we need this extra 10,000 square foot, no matter the ridiculous cost to the taxpayers. When I heard Jack Cheney state he felt the new commissioner's court should be the key feature of the new courthouse, my jaw dropped. Let's put math to it. The 10 million for the extra 10,000 square foot was someone pulling an uneducated number out of the sky. I was surprised y'all used that number to put the notice in the newspaper so you could issue a bond. I guess y'all want to keep your options open when borrowing. Let's assume a number way less for the additional 10,000 square foot of 6 million or 600 square foot versus 1,000 square foot that was offered up with no objections by you. The new commissioner's court is expected to be 2,000 square foot at a taxpayer cost of 1.2 million at the lower $600 a square foot. That comes out to 5,000 a meeting, assuming 2 meetings a month for 10 years, or 10,000 a month for those 2 meetings a month for 10 years. That does not include interest, furnishings, and technology. Jack, I disagree with you. Y'all can use one of the new courtrooms twice a month versus having a key feature at the taxpayer cost of 5,000 a meeting. Y'all are just not that important. Other comments were at 45,000 square feet. The courthouse would not be big enough when the county gets to 50,000 people. We heard the courthouse could be added to the north and west if needed, when needed. We also heard the JPs would be required to move their precincts, which would free up a lot of space in the courthouse. Aransas County needs a new courthouse, and I like the downtown anchor project. It fits, looks good. Let's be reasonable and responsible and build what we can afford. If you go for the third floor, you will have to raise taxes on citizens and honestly are having a hard time as it is recovering from Harvey and still suffering from COVID. I really wish I would put this off until next year so we would know the long-term effects of this economic crisis we were in and how it turns out. If we're going to do this, do what we can afford. Raising taxes on taxpayers now that are struggling already would be abusive and irresponsible. Thank you. And I need to go to my appraisal hearing.
All right.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
Have a good day. All right, now we go to the county clerk's records archives fund presentation. Valerie? Yeah.
So this is just an annual account that I plan for the records archive money.
Valerie, why don't you pull that mic down just a little bit?
The records archive money we collect on filing, and that's to have money set aside for improving the county's records. We have some that need to be visually enhanced and indexed. The past records, 1991 to present, is already computerized where people can search on the indexes. But the ones before that, you still have to go through the old books and stuff. I got a quote from one of the vendors, CoFile, and they quoted that everything that I needed to have done was a little over $700,000. Right now, we just have a little over 300,000, and that's her quote for this year. So that could go up in the future if we ever have enough money to do it. I don't know what else to say. Any questions?
Any questions from anyone? It's a public hearing.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Valerie, so you said that you got a quote for 700,000, but you have 300,000 now. I guess, does that mean that you don't have a plan to spend yet and you're just sort of saving up until we can afford a quotation, or what's your plan for this year?
Well, the quote that I got from her, it was right around the $300,000 mark, maybe a little bit over, for doing just the microfilm. So that's something that I could probably go ahead and have done.
So is your proposal to spend 300,000 that you have in your records archive fund this year on catching up on microfilming?
Not this
Or converting
year.
them? No. So I'm just trying to figure out, what are you actually proposing to spend this year? What's in your plan?
I'm not proposing to spend anything. I just have to give this
Okay.
this plan.
So you're giving us an update on what you're thinking about for the future, but you haven't got any immediate plans.
Correct.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Doing a good job.
Thank you.
Hey, no action to be taken. All right, hearing no more questions, I'll close the public hearing. And appreciate it, Valerie. We do have a presentation from the 4-H for recognition of what they've been doing and accomplishing in these hard times, the pandemic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We usually have a achievement night for our 4-Hers, and this year we were going to have it outdoors on blankets, by family, but we decided that wasn't going to work either. So we came up with a video, which Colin's going to show, which we posted on Facebook as well as sending out to our families. We've got 82 4-Hers this year. So they competed at the A&H show in all kinds of categories. Definitely livestock. We had the most competing this year that we've had. We had about 42. And they also, we had a grand champion, Michaela Mills Goad, grand champion turkey hen. They did a community service project at the Humane Society. We also had a sweepstakes winner with photography at the A&H show. Okay, 83 members. So we had a showmanship winner in poultry, a junior, his first year. We had kids go to consumer decision making at the San Antonio Livestock Show for the first time, and we had kids showing turkeys. Unfortunately, they didn't get to go to Houston or Austin. Some of them participate in a lot of activities, and some just choose one. This girl got first place with a record book in the district, Elizabeth Yannock. We have a active archery program and shooting sports, but archery this year, for the first time again, we're going to have 7 kids go to the Houston Livestock Show for the archery meet there, which got canceled. But we have, they're going to a lot of district meets, and they're doing really well in archery. It's very popular. We also had 2 girls that entered the A&H Show Queens contest, both for the first time, and that is a lot of work. We have 7 ambassadors this year. That's a new thing that we're doing, and these are our leaders. Our ambassadors are going to be sort of like a county council from various clubs coming together. Both clubs, I should say. Bethany Hammond is our food and nutrition project leader. So we have a lot of community support also. And we couldn't do it without our club managers, Dinah Hill and Thana Rollins for Heritage Club, and Daleen Allen and Micah Hale for Aransas County. And then I just have a few slides. We have 3 seniors this year, 3 graduates. And Michaela Goad Mills sent in pictures. This is at San Antonio. She was a little younger. She showed goats, then she got into poultry. And our 3 seniors, Kaylee Gallup, Megan Lear, and Michaela, have a combined total of 27 years 4-H experience. They participated in national programs and many state competitions and got numerous A&H show ribbons and placings, including grands and reserve grands with poultry. They also served as club officers and led our youth well and set a good example and were wonderful role models. That concludes it. Thank you.
Ginger,
Yes.
what does STEM mean?
STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. So the STEM camps, there's a lot of different STEM camps, but the one that Kaylee McCall went to was for veterinary science. And that was in Brownwood.
We appreciate that, and congratulations to all 82 participants in the 4-H club. They've done a fine job and represent Aransas County. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have items 3 through 14 under the consent agenda items. I'd like to first bring out item number 8 and acknowledge that Jackie Copperham is now the auditor instead of the interim auditor, although we've known she was the auditor for quite some time. The judges made it official last month. So thank you, Judge and judges, and thank you, Jackie. Item number 12 and 13, I'd like to pull and for a presentation, but how about the rest of them? Anybody have a motion?
Judge, I make a motion to approve the other consent items.
Motion made.
I'll second. When do you do,
Pardon?
when do you do number 9? Or do the judges do that?
The judges do that.
Second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Castelline. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 12, discuss, approve, or disapprove proclamation 05-2020 to recognize Another Chance RFT continued and dedicated work on behalf of Aransas County Animal Control and Aransas County community. Tracy?
Judge, Commissioners, this is Proclamation P05-2020 to recognize Another Chance RFT's continued and dedicated work on behalf of Aransas County Animal Control and the Aransas County community. Whereas Another Chance RFT is made up of a group of dedicated and compassionate volunteers who have greatly assisted Aransas County Animal Control in Rockport, Fulton, Texas, on a nearly daily basis since the nonprofit was formed in 2016. And whereas the organization has a mission of relocating dogs who are facing euthanasia by providing medical assessment and care, foster care, networking, and adoption services, and transportation to dog rescues. And where, as of this date, Another Chance RFT has successfully rescued and placed over 1,300 Aransas County dogs, giving these precious creatures the opportunity of finding happy forever homes in places as far away as Canada, Washington State, and the East Coast, all the while greatly helping transform Aransas County Animal Control from a kill shelter to an almost no-kill shelter. And whereas Another Chance RFT volunteers give their all to help these local dogs, whether it's walking them regularly or providing major surgery to heal those that are injured, or working with animal control to evacuate all their dogs and cats during Hurricane Harvey, or educating the public, or whatever else is needed to help these dogs be healthy and adoptable. And they do this good work with respect and care, side by side with the Aransas County Animal Control officers who also want the best outcomes for the animals. Now, therefore, let it be known on this day, the 27th day of July, 2020, that the Aransas County Commissioners Court, duly convened and acting in its capacity as the governing body of Aransas County, wishes to thank Another Chance RFT and to recognize their heroic, civic, and humane efforts. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated." Another Chance RFT must operate under this belief as well, and in the process, their tireless work to advance animal welfare helps make Aransas County a healthier, happier, and safer place to live. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's pretty much says it all. We do appreciate their hard work. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion
Second.
made?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. That brings up item number 13, discuss, approve, disapprove donating a surplus jail van, a 2015 Ford van, to Another Chance RFT for local government code, which authorizes the county commissioners court to dispose of surplus of salvaged property and donating to a civic charitable organization located in the county when they determine that the donation serves a public purpose. Well, as you know, they do serve a public purpose. And 4 years ago, I believe, we donated a jail van, thanks to the sheriff's office. And again, the sheriff's office has come through with another van. Another Chance contacted me about 3 months ago saying their van was on its last legs. Could we help? And I turned to Sheriff Mills and said, can we help? And he came back with a positive not long ago, and they were very happy to hear about this donation. And they said the other one is on its last legs, but it's still usable, and they'd use it until it cratered. So therefore, we'll be turning over this jail van to them as soon as we can remove the graphics and get the keys to them. So do I have a motion?
Move to
So
approve.
moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded, Commissioner Cheney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Laubach?
I said aye, sorry.
All right. Unanimous. All right, now we go under district court and discuss new courtroom layout. Judge Flanagan and Judge Watley are here. I believe possibly we've answered some of your, or most of your questions, but hopefully.
Yeah, Commissioners, Judge, thank you very much. Last week, last Thursday, I guess it was, had a meeting with the local supervisor of the project here, John, and several of the other department heads. We looked at the plans, looked at my concerns as well as some concerns of a few other departments, and came to some suggested revisions that he was going to forward on to the architect. And looks like the proposal as we outlined it last week will give the district court enough room in the audience to be able to select a jury now, which was our primary concern. Also will allow for the district clerk's office to be on the same floor as the district court, which is going to be convenient for the clerk's office. And as long as we're doing anything by paper that has to go back and forth to the clerk's office, it will be very convenient for them and folks that have to come to court if they need to retrieve documents or have a direct connection with the district clerk's office. They'll be right on the same floor as the courtroom. So as far as I'm concerned, and I think the other judges are concerned as well, our issues have been addressed and taken care of. A few other departments are moving around within that same floor, the second floor of the courthouse as it's proposed most recently, and a couple are going from first floor to second floor and then the other way around. Appreciate the opportunity to have some input in that and to coordinate with the other department heads and with your local, I'm not sure if he's a supervisor, coordinator, or whatever his title is, but that certainly made a big difference for us being able to get something. There he is right here. Now, John was very helpful, had some really good ideas himself. And so I think we took care of any issues that we had. All right. Okay. Well, I've had some experience with computer automated design or aided design, and I'm sure John has as well. And some of these architects, they could do that in a matter of a few minutes, just moving boxes around on the screen. And so it's not as big a deal as it used to be, but certainly it's still a process of going ahead and allocating very, very scarce space. Did some things that I think you'll appreciate. We went down from 3 jury deliberation rooms just to 2. We don't need to have 3. The other issues that we have are basically scheduling. We don't need a whole lot of space, but our biggest concern was having enough room so that we could actually pick a jury in this brand new building. If you're spending all this money to build a new courthouse, we need to have that accommodation made. And as far as space allocation and space use, those things are just scheduling issues that I think can be addressed as we go along. Certainly, we're anticipating at some point the county is going to get larger. Population is going to go up. Everybody's business in the courthouse is going to go up. And as best we can, we're trying to be ready for that space-wise and efficiency wise. Some of these things become easier. Not as much space is needed for many things when everything goes electronic, but certain things we can't really cut short on, and that's space for bodies. And a lot of what we do in the courts, a lot of what you do in the Commissioner's Court, as we see here today, requires bodies to be here. And so having a sufficient space for those kinds of very important activities is really what we were most concerned with. And I think from my perspective, and I'll let Judge Wadley weigh in if she wants to, but my concerns have certainly been addressed, and I don't really have any more issues. I would like to maintain this communication back and forth so that if there are any modifications to be made, we can all be on the same page and get to where we need to be. But do y'all have any questions?
You don't seem to have, you don't have any security issues, you think, with the clerk's office being on the same floor as the courtroom?
I'm not concerned about
I
attacks from the clerk's office or anything like that, if that's what you
No,
know.
I'm really more talking about the public that going up to the, I thought one of the ideas was to keep
The
the
public.
public that didn't need to be on the floor where the courtrooms were off of there and
A lot of what happens at the district clerk's office is remote. We don't have attorneys showing up to file documents anymore, paperwork anymore. Occasionally, you'll have folks that come up there because they don't have lawyers. They want to do their own research. I think with the configuration that they've got, the security doors and the secured corridors, there are going to be public access points for the district courtroom. There are going to be a lot of non-public access points for the district courtroom, just like the district clerk's office, just like the auditor's office, the county attorney's office. All of these are going to have sufficient public access points, but they'll also have maintained security, both from the common areas, the common corridors and hallways, and within the suite of offices that they have. They'll have their lobby areas or their entry points. But beyond that, I think the security system that's been built into the courthouse from all the offices that I've looked at, and I've not looked at all of them, but the ones that I've looked at seem to have security as a very high priority. And the security really is not an issue that I see from the plans that I've looked at.
If I could just address really quick, the people that come to my office are those same ones that had been in court, not only district court, but also county court as well. So when somebody is getting divorced, they come to my office to get their certified copies. They can't get them anywhere else. So besides that, passports, if and when we start doing them again, same thing. They're not a security issue. So I'm not worried about security of people that have to be there. The people who have to be in the courtroom are the same ones that have to come to my office. And there's no reason for them to not just walk across the hall to be able to do business there.
Okay, thank you.
Got a
Ms.
quick-
Watley, yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
I just was going to ask John, the additional space, we heard a presentation or a guy from the public this morning. How much of the additional space, the 10,000 square feet, went to satisfy the court system here?
We don't know.
We have the same amount of courtrooms, but what we're doing is the spaces in the offices, like the clerk's offices and stuff, have been put back to a larger space to meet their needs. And what we were doing is trying.
I guess my question, though, just generally off the top of your head, how much went to the judicial system?
Of the courthouse itself, I'd say we have about 50-60% of the courthouse is part of the judicial system.
But the increase from 45 to 55?
It'd be proportionally the same.
Okay, fair enough. It's kind of interesting. I think it'd be appropriate now to talk about some of the costs that were mentioned earlier. Don't fall into the trap. That extra 10,000 feet is not costing $10 million.
No,
No, it's proportionate. It's about an extra, between the 400 and 500. A lot of that misconception comes from the inclusion in some numbers of the soft cost and in others not. So we could do a better job of maybe communicating that. We probably ought to talk with Mr. Kane to assure him that that's not the problem.
Our numbers are, you got to remember, we're building these numbers right now based on a very preliminary plan. So there's not a lot of real construction detail yet.
Yeah, not only that, the latest numbers that I've seen on this, our tax rate probably be less than a penny when all is said and done because
quite a
of a
bit
number of
less,
things.
yeah.
But we're still working on that for the number. So I would also take, what we do here may not be important, but it's required by law, okay?
Well, you're certainly not going to hear from any of us judges that what y'all do in the Commissioners Court is not important.
In our courtroom,
frankly,
if we were to keep the courtroom, it could be used by you also if you needed a smaller courtroom.
Certainly, yes. When we're talking also in Sanpete County about a new courts building. And in Sanpete County, here in Aransas County, you're looking about a district courtroom, county court at law courtroom that'll be a bit smaller, commissioner's courtroom that's used for all sorts of different activities, not just twice a month. Commissioner's court. I know from being around here for 35 years or so that a lot of stuff happens in the commissioner's court, other than just the two meetings, regularly scheduled meetings per month. You have extra meetings. You have a lot of other activities. I know this temporary situation we've got here right now. Again, it's scheduling with Judge Bianchi or with the district court, being able to use all of this space to the best of the ability. But y'all are entrusted with the budgetary and administrative operation of the county. Terribly important, monumentally important.
I'll say this, the process is really complex because I think the county has 17 elected officials. If you're ever built a house, a home between you and your spouse, just think of doing it with 17 spouses. So it's an arduous task.
Well, again, we got a district courtroom. We need a county court at law courtroom. The JPs need a court space. Commissioner's court needs a courtroom because this is probably a fairly typical turnout for a commissioner's courtroom. In Sanpete County, we're talking about 2 district courtrooms. Because we're planning ahead, we may have 2 county court at law courtrooms. We don't have any JPs in the courthouse, but we do also have a commissioner's court, and we may have a smaller 30 to 40 audience district courtroom for when we've got 3 judges over there. Now, that's a county that's approximately 3 times the size of Aransas County, but there are certain activities that county government just has to do for themselves and for their obligations to the state and to the precinct, all the way down to the precinct area.
I'll say unfunded
JPs.
mandates.
And you can't. I remember telling folks when the county court at law was being proposed and all the numbers were being passed out. Well, this is what's going to cost, and this is what this is not a revenue generating business. This is a service to the community. This is something that the county has to do, that a reasonable, responsible commissioner's court and a reasonable, responsible county has to provide for their community. If they don't do that, they're not doing their job, and they shouldn't be in office, in my view. And again, this is not a revenue generating business. This is a necessary activity that the county has to provide for their citizens if they're doing their job. And so, yes, sometimes it costs more than we'd like, but gas today costs more than I like.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, the rent on this building right here, where we currently are, we're a renter. Will just about equate to what the additional penny is going to cost in the interest and sinking fund.
Right.
One of the things that
And the
people-
other thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Go
Commissioner,
ahead.
but the other thing that I see happening that is a real feather in the cap of Aransas County is that y'all are taking advantage of disadvantages. I mean, we've gone through Harvey, we've experienced all of that, but it doesn't appear that grant money or other revenue sources to help defray some of these necessary expenses for the county, they are not being left on the table. They're being utilized to their fullest. Your long-term recovery program, that is a big part of utilizing resources that are available to the county to, again, take some of that burden off of the rooftops, the tax-paying citizens of the county. So y'all are doing a very good job in that respect as well. Yeah, it would be very difficult if all of this was having to come out of the annual ad valorem tax on the citizens, but that's not the case. And utilizing these other resources helps greatly in defraying those expenses that are necessary regardless of where the funding comes from.
In designing a courthouse, one of the things that I've thought about a lot on it is what did the founding fathers, what were the 3 or 4 tenets that the founding fathers, whenever America was established? One was providing for the health and safety of the citizens as they came in through law enforcement, but also through courts, and then finally administration of those duties. And we have come a long ways from there, but still the county's responsibility is law enforcement, legal administration, and administration of the finances and the facilities of the thing. Whenever I was looking at the design of this courthouse, I was trying to think, I moved here 25 years ago. 25 years ago, we still had a trailer park where Walmart sits. where HEB sets. We had a lot of things that, the roads were still fairly narrow and things. For somebody to sit and say, well, it's not going to get any bigger, they're just not paying attention. Because Texas, at the last time I saw, was getting before COVID, was getting 10,000 workers coming in and out today. So to stay where we are in a cramped area and to pay someone else the amount of money necessary to keep us going versus what the debt would if we go ahead and do it where it's equally on all taxpayers. It seems to me like it's a very simple issue. We have good judges. We have good administration, I hope. We have an excellent law enforcement service. We have good roads. We're working on good health care. We have fire departments that are beyond appreciation. They're just awesome. I've had 6 major fires in my precinct since the last Commissioners Court meeting. I think that the county is taking advantage of what you said and what John said, what Judge Wiley has said, is the fact that we're leveraging our money to get the best bang for the dollar. And to be quite honest with you, I have very little patience for people that will talk in the community and that sort of thing about how foolish and how silly we are. If they just come up and listen, we have always been open to suggestions. I think if John recalls, our original idea on the courthouse is nothing like what it is now. And, and we were 20 years back in space originally, and it was going to cost us still about the same penny. So with that, I appreciate y'all coming, and I appreciate the fact that y'all do a good job, and I appreciate the sheriff, and I appreciate this court.
Judge Watley?
Just a couple of different things. Again, I want to thank Judge Flanagan and John again for getting with us. I'm gonna talk about some concerns I have. I've met with architects twice, and we got this last plan, and I was like, where did that come from? So it's been a concern that they haven't really put our input in. I've gone through 4 courthouse remodels in my tenure. I calculated the other day, I've sat in 22 different district courtrooms from Harris County to Bear County down, and I'm not even a visiting judge. So I have a little bit of experience in what works. I'm not saying I know what doesn't work. And one of the things, gentlemen, I don't know what your coat size is, but we have 22 square feet per juror. And the current proposal, the latest proposal, I don't know if anybody wears a 24-inch coat in this room. So think about you sitting next to your neighbor. That's a huge concern of mine. I'm not talking about concerns, because I think everything else has been totally understood. The district courtroom, the size that we had before, the old courthouse, was very doable, very usable. We filled it up. I would have jurors getting it back. So we can go back to those square footages to look at what worked. But we did, I know many times, had jurors standing against the hallway. This courtroom, we've been able to, that size is a great size. You know, we could probably work a little bit on the bar, but there's some ways we can work things around, but we need to make sure it's usable. I've also gone to some courthouses before where the audio visuals put in by some great audio. We have Colin, but as long as we have Colin, we're okay. But the audio visual in the Live Oak County jail courtroom is totally unusable by the courts. Can't get it to work. No one knows how. People have installed it a long time. So that's a very expensive component. And again, as long as we have good IT in this county, and I will tell you, I have the best IT in 5 counties. So just want to remind you that. Always
Don't brag on him too much.
Yeah.
But as long as we have Collins.
It's close to budget time, don't be.
Judges are lawyers, and lawyers do not take IT classes. Okay, so we are totally unavailable. So that's really important to be able to use it. So you got only lawyers up here needing IT capabilities. So those are two different things that are the latest things that I just want to point out. As we all know, we've had some situations, especially in this county, where we were anticipating having court that wouldn't work legal-wise. So we just need a little bit of input periodically. Again, we're all aware, we're all big taxpayers, and we all don't want to have to pay any more, ask our citizens to be misinformed or having to pay. So we're trying to be mindful of that. Those are the things we just see that is coming. We're all on the computers now. But again, size-wise and getting enough people in there, I don't think we can propose anything that would help with the future COVID situation, but that's where we are.
Okay, thank you.
John, correct me if I'm wrong on this. On the cost of this courthouse, the participation by grant represents probably less than 15 or 20% of the total. Is that a fair statement?
Of the total, the grants themselves,
No, the grant money that we're receiving to rebuild the court.
we're receiving 9.9 million on the courthouse.
Well, that's some of that's got insurance money in it.
That's insurance money in grants. We only got 2.9 million.
There you go. 2.9 million out of roughly $20 million.
Right.
So to get it down, to get it financed, we're taking advantage of great interest rates at this point in time. I mean, to get it down to where it is, we got a great financial advisor. So these things are coming together to produce, like I said, maybe a $300,000 increase in our sinking fund, interest and sinking fund, that for the most part will be offset by the general fund, not having to pay rent. So yeah, but to think that, yeah, we're getting a lot of money from the grant, the federal people. No, we're really not.
Well, I mean, $2.9 million, I'd much rather have it than not have it.
I agree with you, but
And
when you're
if
coming
that's-
up with 19 million, we still haven't come up with the rest of it.
Well, but if that's 10% of the project,
That's what I'm saying. Less than 15, 20% of it's coming in form of grant. Yeah.
I'd rather be, looking at that money to fund something that's certainly necessary rather than have to not have that fund and either cut something that's necessary or have it cost us incrementally more.
When you lose a courthouse in the state of Texas, they consider that a general governmental function, and they don't reimburse you for it. Trust me.
And a lighter note about the courthouse, many years ago, we decided we needed a new courthouse, and I kept thinking about it. Anyway, Harvey came along and hit us, and after that, a few of my colleagues said, Judge, I think you overprayed about this courthouse. Anyway, that being said, if y'all don't have anything else.
Thank you.
Appreciate your input.
All right. Thank you all very much
Thank
for the
you.
time.
Okay, approve, disapprove third quarterly hot fund report from Rockport Fulton Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
In your reports, your first page is going to show you kind of a capture of the venue tax. Pay attention to the June numbers. They're at $45,196.90 for the month of June. We attribute that large number to three things: being on cash basis accounting, the new enforcement that Alma is doing with her department and finding people that are on home and away and Airbnb and VBRO and getting them to pay taxes as best as she can. And then the pent up demand coming from those people that have been locked up for so long, wanting to come to the coast and enjoy the experience of the breeze, the wind, etc. So if you look down at the bottom chart, next page, Colin. The bring over the 146,033.24 cumulative for year to date for this year. You can compare it against the 2019 number, the 2018 number, and then Harvey year in June, as well as pre-Harvey. So we're not yet to pre-Harvey numbers, but that number shows that with the activity with tourism. I've talked to Alma and she tells us that the July numbers are coming in good, with all due respect with the situation that's going on. I'm going to let Sandy now talk about our strategy for the April, May, and June quarter, and then our strategy going forward for the July, August, and September quarter.
Thank you, Diane. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Good to see you all. So what we had planned for the April, May, and June quarter was very much changed. We had to pause all of our advertising in April, and then after May the 1st, when we opened up again somewhat, trying to get the business back together, we went to some light advertising. We used cable TV, we put up our billboards, we used some digital, and all this was in the San Antonio region. Then when COVID started hitting us hard again, we paused everything in mid-June, and we will resume our advertising when appropriate and COVID decides it wants to leave us alone. So what we did instead of our advertising is we coordinated Facebook Live with our local community on the COVID impact for 15 straight days from March the 30th to April 13th. We used our judge, we used our mayors, people in the health field to let everybody be informed of what was going on. We activated the COVID Economic Recovery Task Force. This was people that were in different businesses and entities that would help us move forward. We did Facebook with business reopening May the 6th through May the 27th, and we did a Facebook live weekly for portions of June and July. Our visitor Facebook is we used a lot of our nice pictures, just photos that would entice people to come back when it was time to come back. So moving forward, July, August, and September, what we are planning and what we are already started, our Hummingbird Celebration Committee will meet this Wednesday to discuss where we're going to go as far as the Hummingbird Celebration. Seafair is working on solutions. Celebration has booked the Fulton Convention Center for October the 8th. Our Tourism Development Council is looking into something for the holiday season, hopefully something where people can drive through with lights around the county. And we're also working with the Sesquicentennial Committee, and I hope I said that right. That's a hard word, and that's with the county for next year, 2021. We're continuing our monthly emails. We're sending out our messages to our visitors to tell them where we are as far as our COVID situation and what we do have open, what is closed, and anything that might be adjusted hours as far as our attractions. We do have the outdoor activity and the social media post. As I said, we're just using top of the mind awareness because you don't want to go dark. The last thing you want to do is to discontinue, not necessarily advertising, but your message. We are still doing press releases when we need to. We're keeping our website up to date. We've also got a page there for the attractions for the COVID activity, and everything else. But as far as the tourism part of it is, you can go in every day. It's updated.
We are continuing our monthly meetings with the local attractions representatives. Sometimes that is via Zoom. Most of the time it's via Zoom, as a matter of fact. We have one coming up the second Thursday in August, and that's going to be at the Texas Maritime Museum. We're surveying our winter visitors to gather the data projected in the October, December, January, and March to see whether or not we are going to have a business as usual or whether or not we're going to be off. We feel like we'll probably be off a bit, but we want to monitor that as we can. And I'll turn it back over to Diane.
So now going forward, next slide. We have formed a communications team. We're working well together in terms of sending press releases, following up on social media contents. So when the social media item is posted all across, we're kind of monitoring that. And when we see fit, we're responding with the answers and links and those questions as best as we possibly can. Keeping a one voice message out there. Our team is Vicki Pitlick with the City of Rockport, Deanna Spruce and Jennifer Hurd. Deanna more with the press release distribution, and Jennifer Hurd more with monitoring the comments on social media. And then Sandy Jumper and Evelyn Guidry and myself are all monitoring our pages that we do as posts and then posting in other pages as well. And then Mike Probst and his team with Stephen Smith are keeping the Rockport pilot posts continually. So we work together as a team, and when one is posting, they're communicating back to all the others, and we're doubling up and doing that as well. So take a look at that bottom listing there. These are the two highest post performance in the last couple of weeks. The one on, I believe this was Saturday, maybe Friday, late Friday, Saturday, received as of today, 26,774 people reaching it, and then 8,711 post engagements. So that would be responding to a comment, asking a question, or maybe even just sharing it. And that was a post from the City of Rockport that we all did the same. The next one is a live update at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays that we're doing, received people reaching it 22,528. Now this is our page only. That's not adding the Rockport Pilots views and the City of Rockport and a lot of other pages. This is just our page, and post engagements of 1,500. And those are also people clicking on it, asking questions, sharing it, liking it, and so on. So our effort is trying to reach everyone and keep the calmness about the community and the community informed. The next slide. So you might ask, are we doing too much? Are we bringing too many tourists here? We showed you high numbers in the beginning of our presentation, and then we showed you good traction in our social media posts. Well, the cases in Aransas County are at 126. Our active cases are at 77. We have 46 recovered, and I think that number keeps fluctuating. I've seen 53. We're going to get some answers to that at this next local impact update on Wednesday, when the doctor from Harlingen will comment on that. And we've had 664 tested for Aransas County. Now let's compare that. You can see the other numbers, but let's compare that to our neighboring county of Refugio County at 156 cases, 68 active, 70 recovered, and 684 tested. So I think that shows that we are slowing the spread, we hope. This week we will be implementing a Mask Up Aransas County program. There'll be a press release, a series of frequently asked questions, and an emphasis from the Women's Lions Club to encourage everybody to wear their mask and to protect themselves in a greater fashion over the next couple of weeks. So we thank you for your support in the hotel tax efforts, and we offer any questions.
Got a quick question on this hot funding expense report. It says report for 2019-20. Is that on the Chamber's fiscal year quarters?
Are you looking at the second page?
Looking at.
Yeah, it's not on there. Yeah, it's October. It's the same. It's the fiscal year for the Chamber, October 1 ending September 30.
So these numbers in here, for instance, first quarter expenses.
Yes.
That's would have been the last quarter of 2019.
Yes.
And we only spent $5. Well, we didn't have any promotion.
Right.
But then in the second quarter, 10,690. So that would have been the first three first 3 months of 2020?
Correct.
What about the second 3
Um,
months? You
We
don't-
have, there's no
There's
spending for
nothing in.
April and no.
My question is, what are you projecting for the entire year?
Oh, well, we have budgeted the 50,000.
I understand.
But COVID
I know what the budget is.
keeping us to where it's not appropriate to have advertising. If we can start back up again, it would be mid-August, and we would anticipate spending roughly 15,000 trying to promote for the fall year. You know, fall here is really tough. It's really tough to stay in business. And according to what everybody has been through with this COVID effort, a little bit of a push and a little bit of an awareness, some sort of thing. And if we can do this Christmas display activity where you're driving in your car and you're looking at lights in a spectacular way, we hope, then that will be a chance for us to advertise. So you place the advertising and then you pay for it. So I anticipate placing in August, but it may not fall until September.
Well, our hotels are all open, right?
Yes.
So there's no restriction on that. We do
Right.
have beach restrictions, but everything else is open
Correct.
for a limited basis. First come, first served, right?
Right.
So you don't know if you're going to be spending maybe $15,000 more of the 45, is that it?
Right.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Any more questions?
Make a motion to approve the report, Judge.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Commissioner Cheney, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, ladies, for
you.
what you do.
Wait a minute. Did she vote?
Yeah.
Sorry, I said aye.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Discuss, approve, disapprove second quarter 2020 report of Maritime Museum. We have a change of command down there too, Justin Parkland. Come on up, Mr. Parkland.
Thank you all for having me. So I'm going to use today as kind of more of an introductory phase since I am new to the hot funds. This is very different than any other museum activity that I've worked with. I think it's a fantastic program that y'all have set up. To start, to introduce myself, I'm Dr. Justin Parkoff. I'm a maritime archaeologist by trade. So coming into the museum as an executive director is a little bit new for me. But after Kathy retired, the board of directors was seeking a new direction to bring in somebody with a maritime background and with maritime connections, not just here locally, but throughout the state and throughout the country. So we're going to be making a considerable amount of changes to the museum to increase attendance, to redo the museum. The museum it's a beautiful museum. It brings in quite a bit of people. After everybody's done fishing and they're sunburned for the day, they want to come to an air-conditioned place, and we can offer that. But the problem with the museum is the exhibits they're kind of static and they haven't changed in a considerable amount of time. And so bringing me in, I'm forming a coalition team with my different colleagues from around the country, as well as throughout the United States, such as the U.S. Navy, my archaeologists there, those at the Army Corps of Engineers, and I'm promoting a closer relationship with the state government, which would be through the Texas Historical Commission and the State Marine Archaeologists. So I'm still learning, as I mentioned, I'm still learning about the hotel occupancy tax. Again, I think it's a wonderful program that y'all have, which is new to me, but I'm starting to get my head around the numbers. If you move to the second slide, I can give you a little bit of information on where our numbers are now for the second quarter and how it's going to change into the third quarter. Obviously, we were seeking reaccreditation after the damage from Hurricane Harvey. Kathy Douglas did an incredible job getting the museum back in order to where we could start bringing the public in to view the exhibits and rebuild the exhibits, which were unfortunately substantially damaged. After we rebuilt the roof and created a secure vault area, I think if we were to get hit, God forbid, I don't even want to say that, but if something was to happen, we would be in a much better condition. But our expenditures for the second quarter were considerably less for things like advertising, curatorial exhibits, and education, not only due to Corona, but also just kind of catching up from reaccreditation. In the first quarter, we were still trying to get the museum ready for the reaccreditation board, which we were reaccredited, which is wonderful because it keeps us as the official maritime museum of the state under the state legislature. As we move into the third quarter, things are going to change substantially. I'm going to be redoing the museum extensively. We've been celebrating a French ship for the last 20 years that wrecked on the Texas coast, but this is Texas, and we should be celebrating Texas and Texas history. So I don't know how many states can brag that they had their own Navy, much less two. And there's a big disconnect between the archaeological community and the general public in terms of what took place in Texas and how Texas was developed. We do these reports, we submit them to the state, and then they're filed. My colleagues are helping me bring these stories forth so we can bring exciting new exhibits that are not just going to advertise to people from Rockport, but from abroad, out of county. So we're going to be going from Sabine River all the way down to the Rio Grande, and delving into topics such as the Civil War. We've got literally hundreds of wrecks littering our coastline from the Civil War, Union ships, Confederate ships, and we're going to be promoting that heavily. And working with the United States Navy, which owns those wrecks, to bring in artifacts and make the museum much more digital, much more into the 21st century, less static, bringing in children, things that they can touch and interact with, to where if we bring kids, we're going to bring families, and we're going to appeal to different parts of the state. You were commenting earlier about how with the hurricanes, how they didn't know how they just kind of were dealt a hand, and we're going to be talking about those types of stories and sharing those. And when kids come in, they're going to be able to really interact with these exhibits. If you move to the next slide, you can see obviously for 2020, our attendance is down. That is obviously due to the COVID. So I'm expecting our numbers to decrease considerably, even though we have had an influx of people in the past few months because everybody's stir crazy. But in the next 6 months, we're going to be starting the reconfiguration of the museum with these new exhibits, and we're going to be widely promoting them around the state through advertisement. So we are planning to try to get the word out, bring people here so we could bring our total attendance up, which will, help by bringing people not here just for the museum, but for other organizations, and to help, contribute to the overall community. If you go to the next slide, just to kind of give you a brief example, again, this is more of an introductory presentation for me. There's so much out there that the Texas public is not aware of. We just finished up an excavation in Galveston for the first steam-powered warship in all of North America. This was something that was initiated by Clive Cussler in the 80s, and that I helped complete in 2015. And we did rediscover the ship and brought up substantial parts of it, which are going to be put on display in very interactive exhibits. I've been working with Clive Cussler has passed, but I've been working with his family and his organization to bring in these artifacts, and with the Navy. If you go to the next slide, kind of give you an idea. I think we skipped ahead, or maybe I deleted one. I think it was probably deleted. Again, we're going to be delving heavily into the Civil War and all the battles that took place off our coast weekly. This is the USS Hatteras, thinking that she's about to meet a British warship, which then suddenly pulls down the British flag and pulls up the Confederate flag and sinks her in about 45 minutes. So sending her to the bottom. If you go to the next slide, we're going to make it to where kids can come in and they can see the ship, literally put their finger on the screen and rotate it 360 degrees and zoom in just like you would on your cell phone. We'll also be able to fly over the modern day wreck site and see how it looks and how it's been affected over 150 years. There will be artifacts for them to see, artifacts for them to touch. It'll be much more digital, much more engaging for not just kids, but the general public alike. So it's not just going to appeal to a Rockport population, but it's going to appeal to all the different battle zones that took place from, as I mentioned, from Sabine Pass all the way to the Rio Grande. If you go to the next one, we have, as we've mentioned, an entire new staff. I'm the new executive director. I've got an incredible business coordinator, Destiny Hall. We're working extremely well together, and we just welcomed Ann Thomas as our new educational coordinator. And we're building a very strong team, and we're working hard together to implement. We just got the team together, and finally, and welcome to Rockport, Justin. We just had I had my first hurricane preparation, spent all Friday boarding up the museum and moving the exhibits. So it was an experience which I'm sure y'all are completely used to, and I'm unfamiliar, but I guess that's something I'm going to have to get used to. So that's kind of it in a nutshell for today. I'll have more information for you at the next quarterly meeting as I gain a better understanding of the numbers and kind of where Kathy left off. But there's going to be very positive changes coming for the museum. And I think that's going to definitely help the community in bringing more people in.
Mr. Parkoff, going forward, I got a suggestion,
Yes, sir.
if it's possible.
Yes, sir.
Could you break out the festival fundraisers from the main attendance coming into the museum in the future?
Did we break them out, say for something like the wine festival? Is
Right,
that
right. Those numbers are they're all commingled in there. Could you break that out from the actual visitors into the museum in the future?
The wine festival brings in quite a bit. As you can look, if you look back to that one page, from my understanding, from the wine festival, if you look at 2017 or in 2016, you can see the numbers. Those numbers are all summer numbers. That's where we really gained our strong incoming people. That's the question you're asking.
No, I'm just trying to the actual people that tour through the museum itself, pay an entrance fee there.
Yes.
Separated from wine festival and some of the other fundraisers that you folks put on.
I would say these numbers don't as much are not as affected by the wine festival. This is general attendance from people coming off the beach. And these are numbers from people that are coming in for just general tourism, fishing, things like that. And as Rockport being an end destination area, they come here, they see the museum, it stands out quite prominently, and they come and visit. When we have our wine festival, of course, we have increased attendance, but that's not necessarily why they're coming. They're not coming for the museum. They're more coming for the wine festival. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Follow me. When people go into the museum, they pay an entrance fee.
Yes, sir.
Those numbers could you break it down between outside attendance to fundraisers and actual going into the museum?
He's talking about in the future, not looking back at past, that maybe you make it a practice of.
You see on the last sheet right here, you're talking about attendance drop-off comparison between 219 and 220. If you look at the month of May, minus 2261, that has to be the wine festival included in that, because you didn't have a wine festival this year.
No. And we're probably, we're not going to have our summer camps.
Yeah.
And we're still questioning our bell ball, which brings in a lot of people. Again, as I said, I'm still trying to wrap my head around some of these numbers. These are all new to me. And
Well, if you're having trouble wrapping your head around them, I have a lot of problems the same thing.
Well,
That's why I'm asking for a breakdown or suggesting the need for a breakdown.
I can't give you a specific breakdown at this time.
That's
I'm
fine.
sure at our
Well,
next.
future. That could be for the future.
No.
Yeah.
In the future.
In the future, yes, I can definitely do that for you.
Thank you.
And I'll make that much more apparent, as well as where the people are coming from, which communities they're coming from, which cities they're coming from. And hopefully that'll be more informative.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome to Aransas County Rockport.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the report, Judge.
Motion made.
I'll second it.
And seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, discuss, approve, disapprove second quarter 2020 report from Aransas County Historical Commission. Ms. Stiles.
Judge,
Stiles.
there's no real, yes, I'm here.
Okay, if there's no real
There's no
changes.
difference.
Okay.
No.
Do I have any questions or a motion?
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion made.
Second.
Do I have a second? Second, Commissioner Cheney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R 28, 2020, a resolution to award engineering services contract contingent upon successful negotiation to Hanson Professional Services Incorporated for the Rockport Center for the Arts Public Parking and Facility Improvement for General Land Office CDBGDR contract so-and-so number.
This is the process we're going to go through with every one of the CDBGDR grants.
And these are going to be paid for through the grants?
Yes. And this is right now, this will be step one for that project. And we procured them through a blind procurement process. And so we're ready to move forward with it, negotiating his contract.
So the entire grant, not only for the parking lot, but for the building itself is a county project?
Yes.
Okay.
No, the building itself actually gets removed and subdivided out of the project.
We're in charge of putting the parking lot in.
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough. Make a motion to approve, Judge.
Are we just approving negotiating it, or we're not going
Yes.
to award it yet since we haven't negotiated it yet?
No, we're just approving to negotiate it.
Okay, the wording of the item was to approve negotiating and awarding. Could we take the awarding out of there?
Is it in there?
I thought it was. Just to make it clear, though, we're only approving negotiating. Later on, we'll award it after it's been negotiated and we can look at it.
It says award engineering services.
Contingent upon successful.
Contingent upon successful negotiation.
Right. I mean, I don't really, it makes me uncomfortable to award it today on the assumption that later on it'll be negotiated in a form we don't know what it is yet. Can we just make it approved negotiation today and later we'll approve it once we know what it is?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
What would be the problem of going ahead and doing it the way it's on there?
Because we're approving the award of something we don't know what it is yet.
But it says contingent upon successful negotiation.
Right. So contingent on something successful that we don't know what it is yet. I just want to see it when it's successful and then we can approve of the awarding of it.
Do we have a services contract prepared already, John?
No,
The grant has a budget.
it has a
amount,
budget
so
and that's the amount we have to stay at.
We'll have to stay within that.
Right.
Well, and we don't have the ability to, do we have the ability to turn them down because of
Yes.
what their price is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, and if we can't negotiate within the budget, then we go to the next person in line.
I'd make a motion. I think I've already made a motion to approve it the way it's written.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
I would make a motion to amend it to remove the wording about awarding and stick to negotiating it.
We have a second motion to,
I'll second Commissioner Laubach's motion.
motion made by Commissioner Laubach to remove the award part of the agenda item, seconded by Commissioner Casterline. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Yeah. 3, 4, and 2 against. I'm voting against it. So I don't see the problem. But anyway, go on to the next one. Discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R 29, 2020, authorizing county judge to sign a renewal of the county's adoption agreement with a certificate of resolution for the section 125 premium only pay. Pay is offered to eligible county employees as benefit to reduce the liability on payment of health, dental, vision, and qualifying critical illness life insurance.
Make a
Do we have any
motion.
question for Ms. Doan?
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion made.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R30 2020 awarding appraisal services for the Rockport Center for the Arts Public Parking and Facility Improvement to Pesador or General Land Office CBDGR funding.
Motion to approve.
Motion made.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorize county judge to sign a memorandum of understanding agreement for release of driver's records to governmental entities with the State Department of Public Safety.
Move to approve.
Motion made.
Second.
And seconded, Commissioner Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Approve, disapprove, authorize county judge to sign a voluntary collection agreement with HomeAway.com Incorporated to facilitate HomeAway.com reporting collections and remittance to Aransas County Hotel occupancy venue tax.
One thing I do want to mention on this agreement, we do need to change it to be effective in November 1st. I guess I was getting hopeful they could go ahead and start transacting it once we signed it, but to explain what's going on with HomeAway and Airbnb, they only charge the customers the 6% state. As you all know, they're supposed to charge them 15%, which leaves the county and the cities chasing down everybody, the homeowners, and saying you owe additional tax, which they're very upset and confused about because they think that these entities are taking care of it and they're not. So that's what we have been doing. One thing I don't like about the contract is they're not going to tell us what properties they are collecting on. They just simply do not do that. Even if we offered them a monetary commission, they still will not do it. So that puts us in a situation just to take whatever they send us.
Is there,
And-
what's,
Doing the same thing we're doing now. But the guest will be charged the full 15% at this point, and they will pass it. We have auditing rights. Even in the auditing rights, I still don't think that they will give us the properties that they're collecting on. Nothing you can do about it except for the guest will be charged the full 15% and they will forward our percent on to us, as opposed to me watching the online reservations and then chasing the homeowners down. The homeowners are paying this extra tax out of their pocket.
why aren't we holding the tenant that on the thing, why aren't we holding them responsible?
We are,
But we have to chase them down?
yes, because they
Okay,
think
so-
that Airbnb and HomeAway and all the online rentals is taking care of it through the guest, and they're not.
Oh, okay, so instead of having to chase down the guest, we chase
The
down the
homeowners.
owner, the homeowner.
No, I would never go to the guest, and so
No.
the homeowners don't go to the guest either. They're paying for it out of their pocket.
It sounds like you still won't know, so you're still gonna have to go after the homeowner to verify, at least from them, that it was taken out.
The only time that we would have to go out after the homeowners at this point would be if they rent, because they can still rent on their own.
No, but
So
what
we
I'm
would
talking
have
about
to,
is, if you don't know that Airbnb or this other group is paying on a particular address, it looks like you would still contact the owner of that home to try to verify that you still don't know that the tax has been paid on a certain address.
and we still
if they're
don't
not
know it
giving it
now,
to you
but
yet.
at least we will have the percent coming from HomeAway. I mean, I think we'd be in a better position anyway. We'll still do our investigation, but,
Well, you're talking about section 5 of the contract where it says that the county agrees to audit home away in the manner provided in the tax, which is illegal. That's a legal requirement. But then it says home away will not be required on the basis agreement to disclose a homeowner or guest name, and the county shall not directly, indirectly, or indirectly audit any individual guest or homeowner relating to such. Look, if they're in the business of renting, they're subject to the tax. So we don't have the right to go in and verify that they're remitting all the tax to us it should be?
That's not how they do it, and the state actually does it the exact same way, which always puzzled me because I'm not legal or anything, but it just, my feeling is we have an order. Why should we even have to contract to enforce an order, law that we have here? But for them to collect it, they're demanding a contract.
Is there any requirement that a person that puts their facility out for rent has to register with the county?
No.
Why don't we make that a part of the ordinance?
They do sort of when they pay in their first, or when we catch up with them, or when they pay in their first thing, they're giving us their information. So that is kind of a registration, but not really.
Alma, do we have the ability to require property owners to certify to us whether they do or don't use HomeAway? So
That
at
would
least
probably be a legal question.
well, as a practical matter, couldn't we do that? Do you have a way of sort of making a list? I mean, I guess you know everybody who's ever paid us tax in the past. Couldn't you send something out to them asking them to confirm to us whether they're using HomeAway and if therefore kind of farmed out their tax obligations to HomeAway or are out there kind of self-servicing?
We could, and we already, Megan could probably tell you exactly who is doing it because she goes on to these websites and rents from them and has talked to many of them. And like I said, we're having to chase them down for the remainder of the taxes. So we kind of really already know, but if we wanted to make it official that they certify that they're renting through them, but they could one weekend rent on their own also, which means we would still have to follow through with
For
them.
some reason, I'm just not comfortable though. I'm not comfortable with saying that we don't have the right to go in and check, make sure that they're remitting everything they're collecting.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the state allows that too.
Yeah, well, we're surprised the state allows a lot of things, but.
Right.
But of all the years that I've worked on the hotel motel collections, and I was here in the section when we started the venue, my biggest goal was to not sit here and let it be an honest John. Whatever you take in, just, receipt it in and go on down the road. I've taken it so much further than that. And this is almost to me, it's almost like a step backwards. But it will generate collection of the money.
Have you discussed this with the county attorney's office to
Yes,
find
I
out
have.
what our rights are in this?
Right. They agreed to most everything that's in the contract.
They did.
If that's where we wanted to do, yes.
If somebody doesn't pay the tax, what's the process that you go through? I mean, how do you file on them to collect?
By just certified letters and whatnot, and we assessed a late filing penalty, and we can assess interest after 30 days.
If they still didn't pay, would it go to would you get a judgment against the property?
I haven't had that happen. By the time we've done a couple of correspondence with them, they usually come on board, but I'm pretty sure that I probably have the right to turn it over to the county attorney to do legal collections on it. But I haven't had to gone there yet.
Well, if they submit a report to us saying that they owe us so much money and then don't pay it, I can see that. But in this case right here, all they got to do is omit some of these things and we wouldn't have any way of verifying it. I just, maybe we need to dress up our local requirements for people that are renting.
Ms. Probst, do you have input?
I just want to say it's a statewide problem. I think that we ought to get together with other counties and get together with the Hotel and Lodging Association because Home and Away is charging 60% and it's going to the state. They don't really have a handle on it as to what's going on in the state. But Glenn Hager with the comptroller's office is all over it and to fix the
issue, so it's a bigger issue than just for our county. So they're charging 6%, and they're charging the homeowner an 8% fee to collect that 6%. I really feel like it's gonna all flush out, but it's not the same.
Well, basically, Diane, it puts the hotels here, they're collecting
At a disadvantage.
15% at a disadvantage competitively because of the pricing.
Exactly right, but it's all over the state, so it's not only our issue. But with,
Have you discussed this with the hotel administration? I mean, the association?
Scott Joslow will be meeting with us on August the 5th to discuss this. We're also meeting with the third party that the city of Rockport has hired to help them with this. This became an issue after Harvey, when everybody wanted to rent something to somebody and post their availability on Airbnb. That's when it all blew up and became a problem for us. So we're on top of it, we're talking with Scott, and we're working with Alma, and maybe we should report back next month and show you where we are on.
Good idea.
How long is this memorandum or voluntary collection agreement enforced? I see it's going to start on a certain day, but it does.
But probably 30 days cancellation.
You got a 30-day cancellation
I don't
clause
know
in
the
it?
exact dates, but yeah, we're open to cancel anytime.
It's not gonna start till November anyway.
Right.
So,
And the further we wait, the further it's going to be for them to get it set up. But like I'm not crazy about having the contract and the terms of the contract, but on the other hand, you are
So you're
getting the
saying we
money
need
collected,
we need
so.
To go ahead and do this today in order to be able to start November 1st. Is that right?
this is better than nothing, but we need to be continuing to work with the hotel
Right.
association, and make sure that.
Right,
these-
and if we figure out a different contractual
Okay.
basis, you can just cancel and do
Let's go
whatever
back in a
we
month
come
and
up
see
with.
Where we are. Sheriff, you had some input?
I'm just gonna comment that if you're looking at correcting some stuff, it goes further than houses. We have a couple of establishments in the county that have wanted to remove tenants, much like a hotel does. Rather than go the eviction process, we asked for they collected the hot funds. They couldn't approve of that, they tried to steer them to Alma. There are a couple of places that want to use this like a hotel and remove them on a day-to-day basis, but bypassing a tenant's right to the eviction process in the county. But I don't know how you're going to get them on board as well. They claim, well, not all of my units are, maybe some of them are monthly. Well, no, wait a minute, you're not going to get right in the middle of that. And I don't know how we can verify that they're collecting a fund for the county as well.
Well, we do follow through with those cottages, what we call, or whatever they are. Those necessarily aren't being rented through this online portal, though. Maybe they are, maybe, but chances are they're not. But I know that there is an issue with the cottages and stuff.
Okay.
And this is only probably half of the online rentals. We still haven't made a good contact with Airbnb, which is probably actually bigger than HomeAway, vacation rentals by owner. So there is another entity out there that we're going to have to deal with also.
Are you doing any kind of publicity, promotion, telling people that they're responsible to pay this? For the people that are.
Our biggest advocate is the chamber, yes.
They're following it, looking up the Airbnb site, the HomeAway site, VRBO, and finding the people, and if they're your people with her department, call them. So they got a good handle on it.
Well, but what I'm talking about is, it seems to me like that we should try to make the public aware that the homeowner is responsible rather than tracking down those, because there's probably a lot of people that are thinking about doing this. Whether we got somebody to put something in their mail with the utility bill or something like that, just giving them a page that has the law on it and telling them who they're.
August 5th meeting is going to be a lot of that. If they're
Yeah.
calling it a launch, and so we will make sure that a press release, and then if you can maybe do a brochure that would say what they need to do, we can make sure that we get that out.
Well, since the comptroller's on this, maybe something will be done by the state legislature next year, but.
Well, that was going to
not
be.
Hold my breath.
my suggestion, I'm not real up in how you get things changed higher up in the legislature, but that might be something that we take to turn this bookkeeping nightmare around.
Yeah.
And Judge, if you don't mind making a call to the comptroller and asking where are they on it, that would.
I certainly will. In fact, depending on how long this meeting goes, I might call him before lunch.
Well, I would move to approve the memorandum,
Second.
signing the memorandum.
Motion made and seconded. Commissioner Smith, all those in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove memorandum of understanding with Delmar College to demonstrate Delmar College's support for the establishment of workforce development and entrepreneur center in Aransas County, and to further confirm its commitment to operate and provide educational and workforce programming at the center.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Lenora, I don't guess you need to have any input unless you'd like to say something. You're muted.
She's muted.
Thank you very much. Thank y'all very much. I just wanted to say, we look forward to working with y'all more and appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Russo, was this one that you wanted to talk about, or was,
I had a question on 23, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alma covered it
okay,
in her remarks, and then I may have a question on 25. Thank you, Judge.
we voted, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R33, 2020, authorizing the award of a professional environmental services contract for a federally funded project located at 2000 State Highway 35 North, Rockport, Texas, to Wild Associates in the amount of $7,250 for phase 1 and 2 environmental assessment.
Make a motion to approve, Judge.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded by Commissioner Cheney.
Got a question?
And this is on the property that would eventually house possibly the Delmar site. So,
Teen Center, yes.
and the funds that we're talking about right now will be covered by the grant, or if they're not?
We've already accepted a donation.
Donation over this.
They were donated by somebody. Can we have a confirmation they were donated by somebody who represents the potential seller of the property?
Right.
So it's kind of like a
Kim,
potential discount against.
Kim,
the
do you
purchase.
have any input? I know you're on here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, it is from a representative of the property owner, which may also have interests. And we explained to them the problem that there were certain due diligence activities that take time that have to be done before we can purchase the property if we are awarded the grant. And they understood the problem and offered to donate funds to cover those due diligence services. And doing it this way through donation allows us to meet all the federal procurement requirements as well as maintain control over all of the services.
Does this count towards any type of match that we might be required to do?
We have not noted a match because we were asking for 100% in our application. We'll see how that goes. If that issue comes up as it relates to match, then it is possible that we could do that because we did follow all the requirements.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Judge Mills. My question on this, and it has been answered, but the way that it was worded, a federally funded project located at 2000 State Highway 35 Business North, I just wanted to be sure that we announced what that federally funded project was going to be. And you have done that. That's the Workforce Development Center, which will be partly funded by one of the grants, correct?
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Actually, it's a potentially federally funded.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove resolution R32, 2020, authorizing the award of an appraisal service contract for the federally funded project located at 2000 State Highway 35 North to to transfer it in the amount of not to exceed $4,250.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion made.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Castleline. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss approve, disapprove resolution R 2020 to authorize the execution of the county's transportation infrastructure fund grant agreement with Texas Department of Transportation.
Motion to approve, Judge.
What is this for? Is this what we do every year?
No, this was a special one. David talked about it a few weeks back, but I can't remember what he was going to use the money for. He had something in mind, some drainage project, and he was going to see what would fit within the grant, but I'm not sure we ever heard for sure.
Yeah, there's several different projects that we're going to use it for, and it's for roadway work.
Is this the $4 million one? Or 40 million or whatever it is?
No. This is 152,000. Yeah. All counties were awarded some amount. This is our allocation.
So what you're going to use it for?
There's 4 different road projects that we're going to do, just repairs from that roads that have been damaged.
Can you tell us off the top of your head, which roads, which locations?
There was Eggery Island, Copano Retreat, and 2 sections of
Didn't
Cassuth.
you furnish us a list of the roads?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
And the amounts?
I remember that.
Yes.
I didn't remember that was part of it. We've
Yeah,
been
it's
so
just
many-
same thing, just more paperwork.
I'll second that.
All right, motion been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorizing county judge to electronically sign the county transportation infrastructure fund grant for this thing that we just did. Motion
Second.
made.
Second.
Commissioner Cheney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Aye.
All right, treasurer's report. Ms. Cartwright.
Total funds at the end of June, $29,736,447.
Okay.
With the 64% at the depository bank. Actually, we have more than that come July at the bank. Any questions on any of the numbers?
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Motion made, and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. And treasurer's second quarter investment report.
The total interest earned and accrued through the second quarter is $178,961 for the operation funds, $534 for the bond funds. Our budgeted for the operations was $405,000, so we're sitting at 44% of that collection, which
Don't go away.
will probably be, what we earn will be half of what we've earned for the first 2 quarters because of the interest rate.
How much did we budget?
For the operating funds, $405,637, 44.12% collected through the first 2 quarters.
So we're going to be down a little bit.
We will, because they've virtually gone and cut in half.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's second quarter investment report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove adoption of Aransas County financial procedures. Purpose of financial management policies to be provide sound guidelines in planning the county's financial future. Aransas County considers the expenditures of funds to be in part the responsibility and requires all persons involved with the purchase of goods and services to exercise good judgment in spending taxpayers' money.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion made.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cheney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Discuss, approve, disapprove county judge increasing the petty cash amount from $100 to $600 for Alma's jury payments. Is that right? We're gonna pay them cash instead of spending $5 to write a $6 check.
Actually, that's a different item that we haven't gotten to that procedure. This here is because there's an extreme coin shortage
Oh, yeah.
availability at the bank. And so as we get coins in, or I can get them from the bank, like for the transfer station or whoever need them, I need a little bit more than $100 to have the coins or the dollar bills or whatever they're short on getting.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
Motion
Thank you.
made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Just for a side note, if I have a big jar or container of change at home, if I bring it to you, will you count it out and give me cash?
I got one as well.
All right. Just wondering. All right. Discuss, approve, disapprove budget line item transfers. We know that one.
We have none at this time.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Approve, disapprove accounts payable, payroll, and payroll liabilities.
They're all normal. This does include the funds to increase for petty cash. It also includes monies from the 2016 bond issue to cover the overage on Banty Road. The construction was more than what we had budgeted for that project.
How much was it over?
178,000, I believe.
It wasn't necessarily over, was it? You got to do more than what the grant would pay for. Yep. And that's, I'm understanding that right.
Yes, that's correct. There was some more drainage work that wasn't covered in the grant that we asked them to go ahead and do.
Yeah.
And the 2016 bond issue did have street projects in it, so those were appropriate for use of those funds.
That's right.
I want to make a comment on the Banty project. That drainage over there is working very well. That little bit extra that y'all did on that made a big difference.
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
Move to approve.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right. This is when before I forget, with this Zoom meeting, well, everybody that's on Zoom is probably gone already. You
I'm here.
realize that Zoom meetings are, there's some delay in anything that's said back to us. So therefore, I'm just suggesting that when we do the pledge and things, you turn off or mute your mic because there's an echo behind everything we say. You say it again. So I'd appreciate that in the future.
I will.
And also, if there's any reports, we got fee reports?
Yes, sir, we do have fees.
All right.
As it has been for the last few times, we have seen a very large decrease. Our collections were 147,900 plus less than the same period last year.
All right. Any reports from any elected officials or department heads?
I have one. This is Michelle.
All right, Michelle.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to let you guys know, if you hadn't already noticed, we have posted on the Aransas County website an interactive map for voters who can type in their address to determine which precinct that they're in. And this was all put together by Dawn Maurice from Road and Bridge. She did all the work, gets all the credit, but it's a wonderful tool for anyone that has any questions about any district that they may live in. I just wanted to give her some kudos for that. We really appreciate her.
Thank you.
Michelle, you go on y'all's website to do this?
It's on our website and on the homepage of the county as well, I believe.
All right. Any other reports from anybody? If
This
not,
is the
we have no
airport.
reason. Go ahead, airport.
Yes, sir. It's Mike Gear at the airport. I wanted to give the court an update on when we can expect the 8 hangars to be rebuilt at the airport. We got news this morning from Don Jackson Construction that all of the foundation engineering has been returned. That was the biggest holdup. We got a few other engineering reports that we're waiting on, but at least with this foundation engineering being completed, they can start forming and pouring slabs. Then when the buildings themselves are expected to be delivered, that starts as early as August 22nd. And then that'll go all the way through the end of the year. One building roughly every 2 to 3 weeks until we get down to December 7th, I think is when they're expecting the last building to be delivered. But anyway, and we had a little bit of a holdup. Judge, I explained this to you a little bit on Friday, but there was a change in who the engineering was being done through a few months ago, and this new engineering firm took over, basically had to start from step one. And so for them to get it done in this amount of time, in this short amount of time, I think it's pretty much a feat, and it shows that they really concentrated on the fact that we hadn't had anything done in about 2.5 years. So we won't make the 3rd anniversary for having steel in the air, but by the end of the year, we should be back in business with some T-hangers.
All right, thank you very much for that report. Anyone else?
Judge, I would like to remind everybody that we have budget workshop Monday and Tuesday.
Monday, we have Commissioner's Court report. And he's gonna be gone Tuesday, so we need to talk.
Okay, we can talk.
Yeah, we'll have the Commissioner workshop Tuesday for sure, but
Monday afternoon, maybe.
it has to be Monday afternoon.
Okay.
All right. Okay. If there's nothing else, we have no reason to go into closed session. So do I have a motion? Motion made. Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.